Welcome to the second part of my Lime Exporter series. In the first part, I just showed you how to bring your FBX files from Lime Exporter into Blender, do some very minor adjustments so that we can then export them all together. Now, in the first part, the FBX files were more or less already separated out, but I'm going to be showing you how to separate the models out if they're all it's just one model. So you bring it in, it's just called FBX. That's all you see in Blender. You can't separate anything out. I'm going to show you how to do that and then reapply some of the textures. I think that part should be okay, but if we have to cross that bridge, I can show you how to do that as well. So hopefully everyone enjoys the video. Let's get right into it. So I had two sofas that came in as one FBX file. I brought it into Lime Exporter, put it in a zip file, dropped it in there with the textures, and then what I got out was the adjusted FBX file. But I'm going to show you what happens when I bring this into Lumion now. If I go in here, I will go to New Assets, Sofa, Pottery Barn, Sofas. Okay, so I think I'd already imported this, but I'll just say okay here. And this will just take a moment, but basically we have the sofas and they are working with the textures, but since you're using the online converter, you're not actually able to go and separate them in Lumion. The only way that I would know you'd really be able to do that is if you just make one of the couches have completely transparent textures, or invisible rather. And this only works to a certain degree. I think that if the sofas share any textures at all, this wouldn't work because then sections of it would be invisible. So what I think the best thing to do is to go into Blender and we just do some very basic modeling. And it really, all we're going to be doing is taking the FBX in, going into edit mode and then just hitting L. And I literally mean just hitting L. And what that is going to do is it's going to link, it's going to select everything that's linked. We can put them in separate groups. So I'm just going to jump ahead to when this finishes loading and I'll just show you what I'm talking about. This is how it comes in out of Lime Exporter. So a really nice set. It's pretty cool, but if you were just a user that you can only use Lumion and you got Lime Exporter, yeah, the online converter would be great, but you have no way of actually separating these out. Because as I mentioned, if these share any textures, let's see if any of them do. So yeah, right here, if I try and make this one invisible, all these are going to go invisible as well. So they are sharing textures and we don't want that. So I'm going to show you how to fix that right now. Now, as always, you do need to have Blender. It's free. I'll put a link below. If I haven't convinced you that you should learn Blender as a Lumion user yet, hopefully this video will help kind of push you over the edge with that. So I just have an empty Blender file here. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Import FBX. If you don't see the Import FBX there, what you're going to do is go to Edit, Preference, go into Add-ons, and then just type FBX. It does come with Blender, but it's not in there automatically because technically FBX is not a Blender file. Someone just made an add-on that everyone uses. So, right, we'll go Import FBX. I'm going to go back to where that sofa set was. Pottery Barn. And yeah, this one. Okay, right. So this is what we have. Go into material preview mode. And I will just save this quickly because I find that sometimes it can crash. So we don't need to worry about any of the materials and things like that. It's just going to look metallic because 3ds Max and Blender are just the opposites when it comes to metallic, I think. So everything that's metallic in 3ds Max is non-metallic in Blender. Just when you're going back and forth, it's not too crazy. So I'll just call this Lime Sofa. And yeah, so that's exactly why I wanted to do that. I'm not sure what it is. There's something about Lime Exporter. It will always crash on the first time when you bring it into Blender, but then once I open it again, it's completely fine. Like it just needs to close and, adjust the file in some way. And then when you reopen it, it's fine. So yeah, I don't know exactly why that happens behind the scenes, but it's just really not important. Right. So right now, as you can see, these are actually separated, but you're not always going to get that. So let's pretend these are separated. Or joined, sorry. So we're going to pretend that it came in like this because I have seen some from Lime Exporter come in like this. And, they're linked. There's nothing we can do about it. So these ones are actually fairly easy because what you can do is just hit Tab. And this is edit mode. Now we're going to see all these dots here. If you hit 1, it's vertices, 2 is edges, and you're going to see that this changes in a moment. There's just a lot of geometry here. And then 3 is just the faces, which means that you can click on the shapes and things like that. The one that we want, though, is, I guess any of the selection styles work, but you're going to hold Z, wireframe. I find 1 does work pretty well for this. You're just going to select everything here. P, selection. Okay, so now, again, what you have is 2 separate objects. I know I had joined them originally, but I'm going to take this even a step further. So let's get rid of this couch, and we're going to focus on this. So in this couch, I want to be able to move around all of the objects individually. So I want to be able to move the sofa, the lamp, this ottoman maybe. I'm not sure exactly what this would be. The footstool with the tray on it, and then the rug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into edit mode. I'm going to click on this rug. And when basically, it does take a little time to kind of calculate, just because this is fairly heavy, but normally you don't have to wait for that. If we just let this go for a second though, once you can click on this and it highlights, then it's all easy sailing from there. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, we can now select the vertices. All you have to do is hit L, the letter L on your keyboard, hover over one of these, hit L, and it will select this entire object. Because it's going to select everything that is linked. If you see down here, select link, that's all it means. So once we have this selected, hit P, separate by selection. So I'm going to run through that whole process again. This rug is already separated out. So what you can actually do now is click on this rug, hit tab again. So tab puts you in edit mode. As you can see, this is highlighted. So this is highlighted yellow. So this is selected. If I hit tab, everything that was highlighted is going to show up. So we're in edit mode. I can't click this rug anymore because it's a separate object. Hit tab to go back into object mode. Click on the rug. Hit tab to go into edit mode. And now we can change the rug around. So all I want to do for this part though is highlight this rug. Hit F2. And now we're going to call it lime rug. As you can see up in the outliner here, now we have another object called lime rug. Now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to hit tab again, and now I want to separate out this lamp. So I'm going to hit L, and you're just going to hover over it. If you are in vertice mode, so if you're in like number 1, so you can click all of the ends of edges, then you have to, if you just hit L over an object, it won't work. You have to actually hover over one of these black dots, or you can just hit 3 to go into face mode, and then you can pretty much just click anywheres. So I'm just going to do some basic zooming just because I need to get into these areas here. I could just go into edit mode and then do wireframe and select all of it, but I kind of want to get people used to doing this link selected because sometimes the models will be really close together and you won't always be able to just box select everything. So I wanted to set it up like this just to show you. And yeah, then you just go through and you just click on everything. There's really nothing to it. Everything you click here is going to end up being its own object. So everything that's highlighted. And so we're going to grab this little part too. And it is important that you grab everything. If you want to make sure that you did grab everything, hit G and then X. So grab is G and then X is going to let you drag it along this red axis here. So as you can see, I didn't actually grab everything there. So I want to get the inside of that lamp. I'm also going to hit period here. Going to go inside here. Hit L. Holding shift and my middle mouse button to pan up. And this may seem difficult at first, but it isn't that bad. You just have to get a little bit used to using Blender. I know this isn't a perfect solution, but it is better than having to buy 3ds Max, especially if you only want to use it for separating out these models, then Blender is a really good choice. But if we hit GX again, as we can see, now this is just almost separated out, but it's still inside of this other object. So we hit P again, separate by selection. And now as you can see, we can't click on this lamp anymore because it's now its own object. So we're going to hit tab to get out of the sofa mode. Click on the lamp because this light orange line is what's selected. So you can have 2 objects selected, but the dark orange one is like it's not the main selection. The light orange is the main selection. So we want it so that this lamp is light orange. F2, lime, lamp. And what we can also do here is just click off the visibility on them because we don't need it for this particular part. So you've seen how the link selected works. This part is much easier to grab all this here. So I'm going to hit tab to go back into edit mode. I'm going to hit 7 on my number pad. If you don't have 7, just click on this Z up here in the toggle and it'll snap to the top. And all this is an orthographic mode looking down. So it's going to make it so that we don't accidentally select any other weird parts. We're looking directly down at it and it makes it easy. Hold Z to have wireframe pop up. And yeah, wireframe. So this is what we want. Just box select around it. And then as you can see, this is all selected. P, selection, lime, footstool. And then I'm going to click on this and go F12, lime, sofa. So now these are 4 completely different objects. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to export these and then we can just go into Lumion with them. I am going to import them all individually into Lumion though, because that way I have more control over it. But actually before we do that, what you want to do is you want to hit 7, hit G and Y. And actually, I guess in this mode, you can just hit G. And you're going to drag it so that it's over these cursors, this cursor here, because we're going to reset the origin point. So I like to go object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. But I think it will just export at 0, 0, 0 anyways. So export, FBX, desktop. We're going to call this one lime footstool. Limit to selected objects. If you don't click this, then everything will just come in as one FBX file. So if you try and make 4 different FBX files, you're just going to have them all together, and we don't want that. So you do just want to go selected objects, export FBX. And I think it's good now. Right, so hit 7 again. Gonna hit the visibility up here. I'm gonna grab the lamp, hit G, bring it into the center. Object, origin to 3D cursor. Again, probably don't have to do that. It's just a habit of mine. So we're gonna call this one lime lamp. Export FBX. So I think that that one's good now. It is. Hit the I button. The rug. Let's just center this a little bit more. So we're going to go export, FBX, selected objects is still on, lime, rug, export FBX, click the visibility off, click on the final sofa here. Just put it in a spot that you want it. So I think that, you know, I could make it so it's kind of like this, but I don't think that that's really necessary. We will just kind of leave it right in the middle. I think that should be fine. So we're going to go FBX, lime, sofa, export FBX. So there will be a little bit of work that we have to do to the textures. I probably won't bother with that because, you know, I feel like most people, it's just a matter of getting it into Lumion. It's not actually texturing it inside of Lumion that people have the issue with, because Lime Exporter comes with everything that you need. It is a really great tool. So lime lamp. So yeah, let's just start importing this stuff here. I think it may come in with just the color maps on them already, because Lime Exporter does have that happen with FBX files anyways. And Blender, I didn't make any changes to the material, so I believe that it should still come in like that. Yeah, and it's just that now they're 4 separate objects. So you can rotate them, you can move them around. You're not stuck with that one preset, you know, furniture arrangement. So you can get a little more creative with it. And it also makes it so that if you import the lamp from the second sofa for some reason, it's a completely separate model. Because if you haven't noticed this with Lumion, you can have chair, like if you import a chair 4 times, even though it has the same texture, it's actually going to treat that as a different material ID, because it will only change the same materials inside of the same model. So if you have a building and you change the brick, all the brick's going to change. But if you import a second version of that building right next to it, it will not change it, to my knowledge. I think that that's how I'm pretty sure that is how it works. So maybe I'm just, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself with that, but I think that that is how it works. Lime rug. Click that there. And then, yeah, we'll just get the Lime sofa in there. And Lime Exporter is an amazing tool, but if you don't have 3ds Max, it really limits what you can do just because you can't, you can't just make it, you can't just change the, the way that it's oriented. Like if you have a L-shaped couch, you can't flip that to make it, -1 along the x-axis for scale. So just inverting it so that it's facing the other direction. And that's the kind of stuff that you can do with Blender. So once this loads up, I'll give you a quick example of that. Right, and this is just kind of an example of why I think this is so cool. So as you can see, all of these are in here with pretty good origin points. There's really no problems. I can drag the lamp over here where it was before. I can drag this over here, except now I can go, well, actually, I kind of want to rotate this. Maybe I want to rotate this sofa. It's going to be over there. You can do that. It won't affect the other ones. Maybe put this lengthwise. You can scale up the rug, so we'll hold L, make the rug bigger, make it smaller. You can make the lamp bigger. And that's it. It just gives you more control. With Lumion, Lumion is a great tool, but you have to be able to know how to gain control of your models and your textures. That's something that, especially when I started learning Blender, I realized how much more control you can get over these things, and it makes a big difference. So the last example I'm going to show you is how to flip it so that the couch is facing the other direction. So all you have to do is have your model right here, as long as the origin point is set up in the correct place, which it's over here, so we don't want that. We're going to go to Object, Origin to 3D Cursor. All you have to do, make sure you're up in object mode here. Right-click your couch, mirror along the x-axis, which is the red axis. So global or X global, and then now it's facing the other direction. So let's export this FBX. We're going to call this Lime Sofa backwards. Export FBX, and let's import it and see what happens. I think maybe if I change this, it might... Oh, that's really weird. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, so as you can see, what we basically got is the ability to not only separate all of these out, and you can save these as individual furniture pieces. So if you only wanted the sofa, you can use it in another scene. If you only want the lamp, you can use it in another scene. And it just lets you have more control over the final product. Now, I flipped this one, so you could just go like this, grab this, duplicate that over, grab the rug, duplicate that over, grab the lamp, duplicate this over, and you've got another little scene set up, and they're all the same. So I think that that's really, really cool. Yeah. So I hope that everyone enjoyed the video. This is something that I just want to show people because Lime Exporter is a really, really good tool. However, if you have to buy 3ds Max to get full access to it, it's not worth it because Lime Exporter, I think, is, $50-ish, Canadian. But 3ds Max is like over 2,000, I think. And Blender really does everything that you need for free. And I know that you might be a little overwhelmed going like, oh, I can't do that. If you reach out to me, I can give you some more pointers on Blender. It really is not that difficult to do this. Like, I think if you honestly sat down for even a day or a weekend, you could probably do what I just did. The only problem that you're going to have with Blender in the beginning is just how you navigate around the software. It's not actually using the software itself, if you understand kind of what I mean by that. It's not like you're like, oh, I don't understand how this concept works. It's just that it's a new software, so you're going to feel clunky moving around, and it's going to take you a bit of time to get used to just how you'd move around with that. But in reality, that's any software. The first time you picked up Lumion or SketchUp, if that's what you use, then it probably wasn't a very smooth process right off the bat. But Blender does not take you very long to learn. If you started learning it right now, this time next month, you'll probably be able to do everything that I was doing and a lot more. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a like and also a subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, and it's honestly just nice to see the community growing and to be able to reach out to more and more people around the world. If you are already subscribed, thank you very much for supporting my channel, and I hope to see you in some future videos. Have a good weekend, everyone.